こんにちは、皆さん。ゲームシェルフの新しいエピソードへようこそ。お相手はルイスです。今回は新しいゲームレビューしたいと思います。ご覧の通り、雰囲気の大きい変化があります。プレイステーション4の個性的なゲームについて話したいからです。理由が如く極みというゲームです。Or Yakuza Kiwami as it is known in other regions.
The Yakuza series. Created in 2005 for the PlayStation 2 and owned by Sega, inspired by the very same Japanese Mafia, most games tell the story of Kiryu Kazuma and his struggles within the criminal underworld, having, at the time, 7 games in the mainline series, 2 remakes and many different spin-offs. Having sold over 10.5 million of units in total, the Yakuza series became a massive success worldwide. The one we're gonna be looking at today is Yakuza Kiwami, a remake of the first game on the PlayStation 2.
Well, it's time to see what Yakuza Kiwami has in store for us.
The story takes place in the fictional red light district of Kamurocho, where we meet our hero of the series, Kiryu Kazuma, a rising star in the world of the Yakuza, being a lieutenant advisor of the powerful Dojima family. Thanks to his prestigious position, he was gonna take control over his own family for the Tojo clan. Being an orphan, Kiryu grew up with his best friend Akira Nishikiyama, often referred to as Nishiki, and the woman he loves, Yumi Sawamura. Life was going on pretty great for these guys. However, on one stormy night, Yumi is kidnapped by the patriarch of the Dojima family. In retaliation, Nishiki committed a crime above crimes. He killed the patriarch of one of the most powerful families. Once Kiryu arrives to the scene and understands the situation, he makes a fateful decision. He decides to take the blame for the murder so Nishiki can keep taking care of his ill sister. He takes both of them out of the building, picks up the gun, and is sentenced to 10 years in prison. During his jail time, he is informed that he has been expelled from the Tojo clan. But above everything, Yumi suffered from traumatic memory loss and disappeared from the hospital, with nobody knowing where she went. Fast forward 10 years and Kiryu becomes a free man once again. During this long time, Nishiki ascended the ranks of the Tojo clan, but in consequence got twisted with his obsession for power, making him a totally different person. During a meeting of the Tojo clan, Nishiki reveals that 10 billion yen were stolen from the clan. To top it off, the chairman of the organization is murdered along with Shintaro Kazama, a father figure for Kiryu. With these problems, the Tojo clan's conflict starts to escalate into a civil war. Kiryu some way ends up becoming involved in the conflict, looking for information on Yumi's disappearance. During his investigation, he finds out Yumi had a sister named Mizuki, and after a chain of events ends up meeting a young girl called Haruka, who claims to be the daughter of Mizuki. Being only 9 years old, she came to Kamurocho to find her mother, while carrying a pendant she says it's worth 10 billion yen. With all this, Kiryu must fight his way through the criminal underworld to find out what happened to Yumi, why Nishikiyama changed, and protect the 10 billion yen girl from the Yakuza.
And that's it for the story for now, but there are many, and I mean many, more events to unfold, but I'll leave you with the main premise for the time.
Yakuza can be defined to be many things: action-adventure, beat-em-up, open world. Hell, it even has RPG elements, but the main focus of the game lies in its beat-em-up genre. Kamurocho is the main setting of the game, and be ready to familiarize yourself with this place because you'll be seeing it through the series. A lot. Being a red light district, Kamurocho is filled to the brim with many stuff to do. Exploring, cabaret clubs, Sega arcades, bars, and most importantly, fighting punks who hate you for absolutely no reason. You see, in the Yakuza series, almost every pedestrian in Japan is an asshole, and they won't hesitate to bring a fight to you. Which brings us to the main focus of the game, the combat. Kiryu has 4 different fighting styles. Brawler, a playstyle that balances both offense and defense, and early on the game it's perfect to get adapted to the combat. Beast. You become a slow, heavy-hitting powerhouse, and with a wide attack range you'll be taking out hordes of enemies with ease, while at the same time you tank damage. Rush. Focuses on delivering quick punches to stun enemies and mow them down, also helpful to quickly avoid danger and fight bosses. And finally we got Dragon Style, a fighting technique that is more akin as to how Kiryu played in previous entries, and this one sucks. I'll explain why in a little bit. During combat, you start to charge your hit gauge. After it reaches a certain level, you can unleash at the best in hit attack. These tend to vary depending on the situation you find yourself in and the combat style you're using. They are just what you need to turn the tables in your favor and just... whew, the feeling behind the hit attacks is so palpable. Pulling one of them always feels so great. It's hard to describe, but you can just feel the strain behind them.
Oh. Oh.
So yeah, the hit actions are really amazing. After 10 years of prison, Kiryu loses most of his abilities, but you can recover them and be even stronger than ever before. How, you may ask? Well, by leveling up, of course. With the experience you gain, you can unlock many new abilities for Kiryu, opening many new possibilities and approaches for you in combat. But that rule doesn't apply to the dragon style. Again, I'll explain in a little bit. Almost all the delights in Kamurocho will grant you experience points, fighting punks, defeating bosses, eating food and doing side quests. The side quests in this game are really entertaining. Thankfully they don't drag for too long, but some of them can end up pretty quite generic sometimes, like talking to someone, beating a guy, you're done. I suppose this is because some of them were taken from the PS2 version, but the overall package of side quests are really worth experiencing for yourself. Whenever it is a goofy situation or a serious fight, you'll end up feeling pretty satisfied in the end. As for the bosses themselves... You see, one of the things that captivated me the most in the series was the extreme immersion I could feel against the big guys, because they really know how to keep you on your toes. But Yakuza Kiwami has only two sides in this regard. The bosses can be really fun or just straight up frustrating, there is no in between. And it's quite a shame really, Kiwami has a very refined and fun combat, but the main courses, the bosses, couldn't deliver the impact from other games. Half of the time, of course. Not everything has to be violent in Kamurocho. If you wish to, you can always take a break and enjoy the thrills of the red light district. This comes in the form of minigames, and the vast amount of them is impressive. Blackjack, roulette, pool, darts. Does anybody know how to play mahjong? I sure as hell don't. Cabaret clubs, UFO catcher, and everyone's personal favorite, karaoke. But the most important ones come in the form of Pocket Circuit Racing and Mesuking. These are tied to their own side quests and collectibles, and I gotta say, these are quite interesting. In Pocket Circuit you help an old friend to get married by finding a worthy successor of him. You do this by racing in toy cars, while in Mesuking you play cards against little kids too. Oh.
Nice.
Finally, there's one last gameplay element I have to mention. Introduced in Kiwami, we got Majima everywhere. That's its name. In this, the fan favorite mad dog of Shimano will stalk Kiryu anytime when you least expect it. Even if you're walking on the streets, buying groceries, playing minigames or...
What the fuck?
And then challenge you to a fight. This can happen at any given moment, so be prepared at all times. And you might wonder, what's the point of this system? Well, I am glad that you asked, because this is the sole reason of why the dragon fighting style sucks so much. Because to level up you have to fight Majima. A lot. Because of this, it takes way too long for the dragon style to be useful. What makes this suck even more is that during the prologue you have most of your abilities, and you get a taste of how fun the dragon style can be. But in the end, it blows. Just look, by the end game I had all the skills for the other styles except dragon. The grinding is just so excessive. Which is a shame, because I find Majima Everywhere to be a really fun system. Mostly because of the crazy situations that Majima gets himself into to ensure a fight with you, which always manages to be hilarious. Even the battles themselves are on the good side I mentioned previously, and Majima can bring different combats to the table, helping to alleviate the monotony, but also, the side quests you gotta do to move your rank with Majima are easily the best side quests in the game. As for the soundtrack itself, I'll say it's pretty good. The music will always bring a great tone to your battles, a great sense of humor to your goofy predicaments, and a great atmosphere when things get tense in the story. The only negative thing I might say is that even though the soundtrack is very good, it's actually quite forgettable. Granted, it will enhance your experience, but don't expect many tracks to stick into your brain, just aside from a few exceptions. The presentation for this game, however, is gorgeous. Being a remake of a PS2 classic, Kiwami was built from the ground up to resemble more recent titles, and it does such an excellent job in that regard. The updated graphics give the cutscenes a bigger cinematic feel, but they also make Kamurocho feel more vibrant and alive than ever before.
And with that, what's my verdict on Yakuza Kiwami? Well... Subarashi! First of all, Yakuza Kiwami delivers a great experience. It might fall short in some areas, but it's a very solid game nonetheless. Do I recommend it playing over the original? I mean, I don't know, if you wanna see how far the series has come since then, I don't think there's any damage in doing that. Or if you wanna see how cheesy that English voice acting is.
So you ready for me? Then step the fuck up. It's time to die.
Granted, the game is not the best in the series. The story is entertaining and easy to follow, and the combat is very polished. You can just feel how much Sega cares about the Yakuza series, and this game is a testament to that. Nowadays, developers just update the textures and add widescreen support and call it a day. But Sega made this game from the ground up, expanded upon the story to give it more depth, added new contents, brought back stuff other Yakuza fans can appreciate. Hey, is that Sonic? And the attention to detail in the graphics just show how much they actually cared. As for the negatives, there's really not a lot I can mention. I already addressed how some bosses can be really frustrating, but overall the game works as it should. However, I think I should mention this game's biggest flaw, and that's the backtracking. Kamurocho is a place that you can easily become used to. It's not too big, and everywhere you go there are landmarks that can help you to position yourself. But even so, the game suffers from a lot of backtracking, especially between these two places, the Purgatory and the Serena Bar. And there are taxis that can make short work of it. But still, you do this so many times it becomes really dull. Oh, but that does not compare to the absolute worst thing in this game.
Anyone who still has not played the game, I'm about to drop a spoiler bomb. Jump to this point of the video to avoid getting spoiled. You got a few seconds. Okay, let's proceed.
Who the fuck designed the Jingu fight in this game? This is without a doubt the worst fight in the series, even worse than the final boss in 4, and those who have played that one know how much that one sucks. You approach Jingu, you get shot by his elite agents, you recover from it, you get a molotov thrown at you and then you fly. You recover from it, you get shot again, you hit Jingu, oops, no his elite agents have gone berserk, you die. You have to find more elite soldiers for another chance to kick his ass. Okay, here we go again. Let's beat the agents now, they take forever to die. Finally, you beat them. The agents fucking revive. You get shot, explode, shot again, then die again, rinse and repeat. I will always remember Jingu as one of the absolute worst boss fights in any video game ever. But if there's one thing I give credit to, is that the boss fight following Jingu is a roller coaster for good reasons. The final boss, your sworn brother Nishikiyama, puts up a fight that really puts your skills to the test, but most importantly, it's fun, very emotional, and really memorable. I'll even go as far as to say Nishiki is one of my favorite bosses in the series, and that alone made up for that anger Jingu made me go through. And when you see that ending, you realize it was really worth it.
So to conclude, Kiwami's a ride worth riding. It's the perfect entry for newcomers to the series, and it's a fun ride for veterans alike. Hell, it's even worth $20. For a game of this caliber, I'll say that's very worth it. In other words, and with that folks, I hope you had an enjoyable time, and do not forget, if you want to support the channel, you can subscribe, drop a like, or recommend the channel to someone who is into video games. And do not forget, I wish you an excellent day, today and tomorrow. And take care. Holy shit. It's so hot in here.